Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. And I'm your host, Franca. With me on the show today, I have a full house today. I have Tommy Akimbobola with me. Hey, you.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, you. I'm going to press you today.
Bring it on.
And very soon, I have Sajo. Sajo, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, all.
Sajo, I will greet you specially as our elder.
Do not make me feel that old, please.
No. I'm not. It's not intentional.
Doesn't look old now.
No,
Looks
Sajo na correct guy.
good.
Yeah, he looks very good. Guy man, oh, better guy man.
I see glasses.
And I have Precious with me. Precious, how are you? Delicious.
I'm fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Precious. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Always
How are
smiling.
you?
She's awesome.
Ever
She's-
smiling. Look at that.
She's just amazing. She's just
Toby.
amazing.
Let me be that. Good
She's
to
just
see you.
amazing. So today on the show, we'll be discussing co-parenting during divorce and or separations. How parents should co-parent, while if they're separated or divorced. Because I discovered that a lot of parents have issues with this thing. I think they still have. The problem is there's still a bit of anger. Do you understand? So they now transfer it to, how they. So in responding to the lady, because they want to that's anger and everything, they just don't want to do anything. They think they're pleasing the lady, forgetting that whatever they decide to do is affecting the children.
Sure.
So we want to discuss all that today. That's why we have Sajo, the Oga Pata Pata for family affair. Sajo, so you're going to be educating us more. I don't know if during divorces, that issues like this, that they come back to say, oh, we're having problems with parenting, or dealing with who is taking the child, things like that. Sajo, do you guys have issues during separation where you have to go to court because of that?
Usually, I think
Yeah.
you're referring to pre-dissolution of the marriage, the intervening period where the court process is ongoing,
No, even
and even
after
post-dissolution.
post, yes, post,
Because
please.
the practice is that at the end of the when the decree NESA, which is the dissolution decree, and then it becomes absolute after a while. When the
Okay.
decree NESA is issued, all of that is captured. So what
Okay.
I usually advise clients is that we address everything that has to do with the children of the marriage during the pre-trial conference.
Okay.
At least at that point, you are still able to have that discussion and conversation, and then you enter what we call reports of compulsory conference and present it before the court and pray the court
Okay.
to enter what you have agreed
Okay.
as part of the judgment of the courts. So
Okay.
yes, for me, in the over 23 years of practicing this, and specifically over 22 years of active participation in matrimonial causes matter, the most emotional matters I handle are the matters that have to do with children. Because for me, yeah, adults can deal with their issues.
Okay.
You guys contracted in marriage, you feel you're no longer in love, you feel things are not working. Yes, you can separate. You can even dissolve your marriage any way you want it.
Okay.
But kids do not have say in this. They didn't have say from inception as to why you parents came together. They are product of, I believe, or I hope, and then believe some very lovely situation.
Okay.
And then midstream, you've decided that, oh, we can't carry on. We want to dissolve the marriage. They should not suffer from your decisions.
Okay.
So to answer your question directly, we are always faced with such situations in marriage.
Okay.
matrimonial causes matters, where unfortunately the parents would want to use the children as bait or negotiation tools to say you have them, I have them, or you take them for one weekend, I take them the other weekend. Whatever the agreements they have, it's always best to reduce it into writing and have it documented as part of the compulsory conference report and present it to the courts.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. So I wanted Sergio to give us a brief of what this conversation is going to be about. So please, if you want to be part of this conversation, you want to send a message, please send a message to us on 081 9038 4663, or you can call in directly to be part of this conversation. Call us on 070 2500 7749 or 070 1424 2420. And please, 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 our YouTube channel is growing. It's growing. Tommy, are you following us? Okay, so please subscribe, share the link, get people to subscribe to our link, and then you can watch. Even if you're not able to watch live, you can go back and watch. So please, 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 and also share in case people want to be part of it or want to have an idea of what it is Heartlines is about. So before we dive into this conversation, let's quickly go on a quick break and we'll be back.
Be right back.
It's a season of love. In partnership with Yasin, Heartlines will be giving away 4 luxurious, beautiful gifts to 4 lucky women. So stay tuned to the show to find out how you can win these incredible, luxurious gifts. And yes, gentlemen, you can participate to win on behalf of your better half, because truly, love is in the air. So catch me live Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. on Heartlines.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so we're live on R2 TV, channel 145, DSTV 408, and Star Times 308. So you can actually watch us on any of these channels if you're not able to get to your YouTube channel. So you can watch us on DSTV, Go TV, and Star Times. Tommy, regarding this conversation, co-parenting, I want to know if you have, not I want to know, I'm sure you have, you have an idea of what, parents go through. We've had this conversation before. Do you have anybody close that has gone through anything that was really bad regarding co-parenting? That was nasty.
Nasty. Do I have? I think the one I've experienced wasn't nasty.
Okay.
I think they handled it
Properly, amicably.
properly. Only that sometimes, of course, it's not always going to be perfect because somebody will not be available all the time, And like he rightly said, some of these parents would like to use their kids as tools, to hold the other partner, down. So in this regard, I think I remember a colleague of mine who had a separation issue, okay? And the wife started saying bad things about the husband, which shouldn't be anyway. But the good part is the kids did not allow, because they're already grown up, I think they're within 13 to 16. They didn't allow the kids, the kids didn't allow whatever the mom told them to get to them. They were still hoping to see their father. Even when he came around, they still wanted to, play with him and all that. But she always felt pained that this man is not available for you guys. I'm the one who's here for you. Why do you guys still, show this man so much love? But of course, this guy has been, the father's been there with them before this whole issue. So he has actually shown them the love they needed at the point in time. So I think by extension, that has, become a part of them, and they still see him that way, even though. So I personally say, no matter the situation in divorce, we should try as much as possible to set boundaries, keep it away from the kids. Because, in the long run, they didn't ask for this marriage. They didn't ask to be born. You guys brought them into the world. You guys had the contract with one another, so you guys should be able to handle it, appropriately. So for me, I've not had, back to the question, I've not had any colleague or friend who had a nasty experience, just, of course, the normal
Back and forth.
back and forth on the
Okay.
relationship.
Okay, so I have a friend that, so it's not really, so the thing is, I don't want to even attach it to a divorce or separation. So, and I think it's peculiar abroad because of the whole system. But a friend of mine is married, they had a quarrel, and he asked the lady to leave the house. No, the lady asked him to leave the house. Initially, he didn't want to leave
Abroad.
the house. Abroad, yes,
Yeah,
in
that's
the UK.
abroad now.
Said he should leave the house, and he left the house. She stopped everything. She blocked his number from the phone, so the guy can't see his kids. He sends money, and the children, she doesn't see, she sends the money back to him, And then when
She sends money back to him.
Yes, she doesn't want his money. And they are not divorced. They are not separated. She just asked him to leave the house. And trust Niger guy now, one wahala. So since she has said, leave, so that they don't get into it, it's not confrontational, or they begin to exchange words and she now has to call the police or something, So the guy came to Nigeria, and I think she found out that he was in Nigeria, and she now started sending messages and come and take the boy, I'm not available, blah, blah, blah. And he now said he's not available until February. So if she can wait till that time. But he said he's pretty sure that if he goes back,
She won't allow him.
she wouldn't allow him.
Exactly. Like you said, using the kids
Yes,
as a
using
tool.
the kids as tools, So, Sir Joe, how is this, regardless of divorce, regardless of separations, is there any way this can be resolved, that even if we're having issues, we should be able to, two parties should be able to coexist, to handle the kids, to parent as per parenting of the kids? Because these things affect the children. So is it possible to go to court, or do something that even if we're not separated, we're just apart or we're having a fight, that it shouldn't affect the kids?
Well, yes, you can go to court.
Okay.
But you see, what I would always say to people is that there is no judge, irrespective of how vast and learned he or she is, that can decide for you what is best for your children. First of all, he does not know your children. So the option of leaving that decision to the dictate of the courts is a disaster in on its own, so to speak. What is best for the children, and that you will get to find out over time, whether as co-parents or post-dissolution of marriage or during the period of separation, is for you to remove yourself from the issues. The truth is that if it's post-dissolution of marriage, wake up to the reality that you are divorced. You're no longer married. Do not continually get interested in the life or style of the person you have on your own willfully elected to separate with.
Well,
Ensure that the children are topmost in your decisions. Because at the end of the day, what these children that you profess love towards will turn out to become is, to a very large extent, dependent on how you're able to manage co-parenting. There is no child that can reach his or her fullest potential without the physical,
presence of the father.
emotional, psychological, and maybe financial contribution of both parents. There is no woman that can play the role of a father, no matter how strong she is. And there's no man that can play the role of a mother, no matter how emotionally balanced and endearing he is. So for the sake of the children, you need to come to an understanding where you both can say, you know what, this is not about us anymore, it's about these kids. Let's deal with it. Let's put them first. And over time, I have had to create a sort of guideline on how to achieve this possibility. And we do that also in our counseling room. Post-dissolution counseling, we try to advise you that, okay, you know what, this is done. You're done with this. Now you're moving into the second phase. And the danger about the second phase is that it's no longer about you. It's about the children the innocent children you brought into this. So at all time material, you must put that at your mind that this is not about me, this is about the children. And then if you are focused on that alone, and you genuinely do love your children, it will not be difficult to put them first and allow their father or their mother to have a say in their life.
Okay.
So
over time,
okay,
you see
so
divorced or separated parents.
Okay, Mr. Joe, I was going to ask you, while I hear you and I quite acknowledge all you've said, how have you handled situations where both parents can't even bear the sight of themselves? You know, it takes to have some sort of cooperation to be able to, arrive at a decision to come together and take responsibility for the kids. But in a situation where these parents have totally lost and can't even stand to even sight on themselves, how do you solve this situation?
Usually we counsel them. We bring them into sessions, have those discussions with them and tell them that, look, you do not have to see her. You do not have to like her. You do not have to like him. But if you really want the best for your children, this is the time you need to take yourself out of the equation and deal with that. Now, there's only how much you can do. You can also go to court and demand that the custody of assets be pronounced as judgments. And then once that is done, for me, that's always the last resort, because judgments of courts are just being enforced. It would have been better if this was a decision they sat down as parents. We as parents know our strengths. Before the divorce, you knew the role you were better in on the life of your children than your spouse. So you cannot come if you're one who gives time and has resources, or one who is quick to respond to school emails, or one who is more active in school activities. You cannot suddenly say, oh, because we are divorced and I'm the woman, I want to take all of this. You will be doing the children greater danger and no good at all. So once we are able to constantly remind them that this is about the children, sometimes after all the pride and ego tripping, they come back to their senses and then begin to look for mild ways to deal with this. And in some cases I've handled, I've had to be an intermediary for 2-3 years. Okay, I want to send this to my children. You drop the message with me. I call the counsel on the other side. Oh, Mr. So, you know these guys can't talk, they can't meet. Can you tell your client XYZ? And we got to the point where I tell you that, look, I'm not going to do this anymore. If you do not want your children to have this, then let it be. And go deal with your thing. At the end of the day, they are your kids, not mine. Neither are they the children of the court. So if you do not understand the importance of your presence in their life, and all that is important to you is to fan your ego, then the consequences of what they become will also be on you, not any other person.
Makes sense.
Well said.
Well said. Okay, so Precious.
And I hope that's not hard love.
What is it?
Or tough love, as they say it now, right?
Yeah, tough love.
It's talk love. Okay, so Precious. Someone sent a
Yes.
message and the person says, "Greeting Heartlines. I have never been married, but from my observation, issues stem from the hot selfishness one or both parents have because their intention / motive in the relationship were not met." Do people actually get divorced because of selfishness? or something? Is it that? Is it? I know everybody is selfish. In all honesty, everybody is selfish, and everybody wants. A lot of people have expectations, really high expectations, and all that. But does it ever get to the point that you allow your selfishness, you understand, to destroy a home where you have kids? I'm asking you as a counselor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we've seen so many reasons why people get divorced.
Okay.
And even when there are kids, in play, they actually don't, sometimes they don't even think about the effect, of their selfish decisions on these kids. We're not saying, you must remain in the marriage because of the kids, but there are better ways to go about a separation and a divorce. It can be civil. It must not result in fight and quarrel. We've had clients that the children were so adversely affected that they had to be included in the counseling sessions, just so that they can navigate through all of the feelings. Children they're a bundle of emotions most times, and they might need someone to help them understand exactly why they feel the way they feel. So imagine a child blaming the divorce or separation of his parents on him. The other day, mommy asked me to do something I did not do. That's why mommy is leaving daddy. Or daddy asked me to come first in school. Or daddy is disappointed in me. It means that the relationship the parents had, they didn't even shield their problems from the children. And as parents, that's one of the things you're supposed to do for your kids. You're supposed to protect, provide, guide, and all of that. But if you're having issues, let it not trickle down to the children. That's just what we're saying. So you can be selfish. Yes, people can be selfish. Adults can be selfish and decide that they will go through this separation, this divorce, not caring how it plays out and affects the innocent kids in the long run.
It's really sad, though. Really, really sad because.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's really sad because I'm thinking, in fact, every time we have this conversation, I'm always thinking, how can two people who claim that they really love each other get to the point that they can't even see eye to eye? What amount of hatred would you understand, would get to make you get to that level? Because you guys used to sleep on the same bed, have intimate moments, and then for selfish reasons, you now hate the person so much. I hear some even say, oh, they feel poison themselves. How do we get to that point?
There's really no direct answer for that kind of question, because we've seen marriages that didn't even last for more than a month.
Oh, yeah. So I don't count those ones as marriages for some reason.
And we've seen marriages that have tested it, test of time over 30 years, and eventually it comes to an end. So let's take, for example, the 30 years. I want to believe you've seen at least an extent of who you're married to.
So why would you even want to divorce at that time?
Exactly, what would he or she have done, possibly done so wrong that will now make you, hate the other person so bad? That's why I said there's really no answer to that. It's a unique reason to each of these people.
So, but is it possible that people are not able to? Is it possible that parents or humans are not able to say, you know what, let's deal with this? You actually box the things that are issues. Now, let's not. This is what the issue is. Can we take out? Can I just, eliminate whatever it is that's going to hinder whatever I want to do now regarding the kids? Can I just put it somewhere and deal with it? Yes, we are not speaking, but at least we can be civil. We can have proper conversations. We don't have to be friends to have conversations.
It's very relative.
It's relative, and it seems like, it's easier said than done.
Exactly.
But I personally think that if we're intentional about it, we're saying, okay, we have kids. We're responsible for these children. Let's put our differences aside. We don't have to love each other. We don't have to kiss and hug and all that. When we come in, hello, hi, how are you doing? Told me, hi, how are you doing? Okay, so we want to discuss this. What's the issue? Think properly. Don't allow anger. But again, self-awareness, because if you're not self-aware, then you allow, you get to the point where you allow your emotions, eat you up, and you take some very stupid, decisions. I was having a conversation with Sajo, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and he said that, he said it's bad.
He's bad.
It's what I want to say, that it's a bad place, but when you get to a point that nobody gets you upset anymore.
And don't finish with that, though.
Yes. That point where
It's
nobody
actually
is able.
dangerous.
That's what Sajo said. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point where nobody gets you upset, it's okay. Do you understand? If that's what you want, that's fine.
That's it's ended. That's hit the wall.
It's not about so it's not about a man. It's not a
Yeah,
husband.
That's hit the wall.
Sajo, please, can you speak on that a bit?
No, I won't.
Why not?
Sajo, I'm begging.
Now, Franca, let me take it off from your comments about capacity or ability to box issues, and then attend to that which is on the table.
Okay.
You see, it is the act of boxing that leads to resentment.
Exactly.
And then that graduates into hatred.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is why you will see people who you felt were so in love become a life example of that thin line between love and hate. There is really no need to box anything in marriage. What you need to do is to develop a proper communication skills. To talk, listen, and talk. Now, the moment you stop communicating and then you try to box and pretend that all is well while you are handling other aspects of life within the marriage, that is where you begin to grow that distancing, resentment, and then it will lead to divorce, whether you like it or not. What I would usually advise is, or what I think could quickly also lead to that, is inability to truly forgive. Now, I'm not talking about forgiveness in our regular usage. The essence of marriage is that we have come imperfect to run a life in pursuit of perfection, which we are not even likely going to attain in our lifetime. Now, if we know that we are both imperfect, we must, for the sake of that marriage, and not for the children, for yourselves, continually forgive each other and genuinely mean that you have forgiven. You may not forget totally, but genuinely forgive. Because over time, I have had situations, and this is not targeting any of the genders, right? I've had situations where the reason people walk into your office for dissolution of marriage is what happened 4th of June, 1984. And this comes from a particular gender who have learned over time are incapable of forgiving. You could offend this gender without specifics. I think that you are now in a good state and innocently or ignorantly continue running your life as though all is well. And then somewhere you falter again because you are human. And then they take you back to 4th of June 1984. I had a matter that burdened me for a long while. When we were at the compulsory conference, this lady brought a dossier of 2 volumes, this high, no jokes. And she was flipping page by page of events she documented about her husband. Oh, so day you went to the place, when you came back, I saw XYZ, I took picture, I made photocopy, I filed. Oh, you said this to me, I printed it, I filed. You said I will not amount to any good, I printed it, I filed. And when we were leaving that compulsory conference, my dad, who is also an old-time friend of ours, said to me, bro, how can I ask for forgiveness from this woman? And I told him that what you need is not forgiveness, but thanksgiving. You have just been saved. This woman could have killed you one night. If you can document events of 4 years, and then within that 4 years, you guys were still living happily as husband and wife in the same house, while we were piling up fights after fights. I don't know what she was preparing for. But if she did not end up in courts, the guy would have ended up with courts. And the courts could have been devastating. So for me, it's our inability to forgive.
Okay.
And you see, over time, we grow in that act of unforgiveness that we become very resentful. And then we extend this resentfulness to the children of the marriage. Not in a protective, motherly, or fatherly way, but in the drive to carry out vengeance that you could not carry out on your spouse, now on the children. Maybe she's the one that looks more like the mother. The one thing I say to people is that do not ever speak negative of your spouse in front of your children post dissolution of marriage.
Valid.
Because what you're doing in that state is not on the man or the woman. You are damaging the psychic of that child. And the impact of that destruction may not become evident until his later years, when it becomes incurable.
Words of wisdom.
Let's when Sajo
Words
starts.
of wisdom.
When Sajo starts, please let's quickly go on a break. Let's quickly go on a break when we come back.
That's some serious words of
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so I have a message from Charlene Edwards and says, good evening. There's also a lot of married people who are broken, immature people with co-deficiency issues. Then they add kids. It's a recipe for wahala. I believe in premarital counseling from a licensed therapist before marriage. Premarital counseling before marriages, from a licensed therapist, which makes sense. As much as they don't know what they are getting into, but they have problems on their own. So they should sort out whatever it is, the baggage and trauma they are coming with before getting into marriage or adding kids into that marriage. Because trust me, I feel people come into marriage with a lot of expectations.
True.
And when you
That's
come
true.
into marriage, sorry?
That's true.
That's very true.
Yes, people come into marriage with a lot of expectations, and then when these expectations are not met, it begins to, build up a sort of anger within them, and and I don't know what it is. Why don't you have those expectations when you're dating? It's like that word marriage, just gives each person a certain kind of responsibility that as far as you're married, this is how it has to be. But there are no rules to this thing. It doesn't have to be in a certain way, So I agree with her that people should, I don't know about, a lot of people don't like to see licensed therapists or therapists at all, but people should actually leave their baggages somewhere. Come on a plain slate, as in come open. Come to say, oh, I know I have problems and you know you have problems. Let's sit down, you understand, and navigate whatever it is or discuss whatever issues it is. Before we went on the break, Sergio, what I was saying about boxing issues is not boxing issues to just when you're in marriages. I'm saying when there are issues on ground, like you're having fights and everything, if you are not ready to deal with that issue, and there's a pressing issue regarding the kids, when we're ready to have that conversation, let's have that conversation about us. But it shouldn't affect what we need to do for the kids. But I've seen marriages where, because we're having issues, we're not speaking, guess what? It affects the children. You're not able to agree on certain things regarding the children because you guys are not on talking terms. And there are some homes that these quarrels, they linger for 5 months, 6 months. And in that 5 or 6 months, you find out that nothing is working properly in the house. Because one person, is not forthcoming. We're not talking. So, because we're not talking, it's an excuse for me it's license for me to misbehave. It's an avenue for me to do whatever I want to do. It doesn't make sense. Let's leave. No. You're not ready for her. Sergio, you said something?
I do not agree with you, Franca.
Okay.
You see, if you have issues, deal with them. Do not sleep over them. Or at most 1 night, 2 nights. The longer you stay away from that issue, the more impossible it is to resolve those issues. We are humans.
Okay.
At our best, we are humans. Not remotely possible, except we're in denial, to say that we are not in the righteous frame of mind and that we are sitting together to engage in discussions without being selfish about it when it has to do with our children. No. Get closure on every issue. Deal with those issues. If you have to talk about it, talk about it. Now, I also agree with the person, I don't know if it's a lady or a man that said there's need for
premarital counseling,
marriage, professional counseling.
Yeah, Charlene.
I emphasize professional counseling because of personal experiences, Some 10, 15 years ago, I was lecturing in marriage classes at St. Leo's Church in Ikeja. And then my first class, whenever I get to class, I'll ask them why they want to get married. And Frank, I will tell you that every year, every class I attended, every class I delivered lectures at, over 80% of the persons in that class didn't know why they were getting married.
Wow.
They're in love.
And then you expect that marriage to work when they don't know why they are getting into why they are getting into. And then we use very old. I had to defend a paper position in one of the classes because I told our parish priest then that we can't allow these older persons to lecture in marriage classes because they're not in tune with the present realities.
Agreed.
They got married when marriage was a different kind of arrangement. So they are not able to relate with this younger generation and what they understand as marriage. And you cannot force those knowledge on this generation because it's not going to work. And using the old models of 20, 30, 40 years to lecture persons who wants to contract marriage this year will also not work.
Yeah, would fail.
Like, I believe this is an adult show.
Yes.
Like saying that you need to pray before you engage in sexual interaction in marriage. Hello?
Who
How
says
does that make
one?
sense?
That one day too.
That one day. That one day. He
Voila.
told me his
He
last.
did,
He
told
told
me.
me.
He
How
He
does
told
how
me his
does that
voice.
make
That
sense?
one day. Sajo, now make the thing for connect. Make it set where.
They're going
No,
to say
no, no, no.
before and after.
But
Voila. I never heard this
but
one before.
seriously, who considers prayer in that mood or that state of mind?
As in, help me.
Help me.
Engaging
Help
in
me.
Come on,
contractual
man.
relationship.
How do you?
How do you? No. That means you don't have bedroom manners.
The guy there know he won't pray.
You don't have bedroom
Which
manners.
manners did they get? That guy-
Bedroom manners. Sajo, that means Tommy doesn't have bedroom manners.
But these are the realities.
These are the problems. These are the problems.
Yes.
So
Come on.
whenever we discuss this thing, there's always not enough time to engage
Seriously, yes.
in a 1 hour time. Like so,
Yes.
I'll allow you to speak with other guests.
Okay, so I this is a very, it just has to do with so many things. But Sajo, what we are saying today is, let's even leave the men and the women, because you have said, when you started, you said, you know what, you're not concerned about the adults here, because they are old enough to decide on what they want, how to deal with their issues and all. The kids in question, what's the way forward, in handling this issue? Because trust me, a lot of homes are having this problem. Co-parenting during separations and divorce is a huge problem, especially in this part of the country. You find out that sometimes it's the men who take, in fact, on social media, I've seen celebrities come on air to complain, to say, oh, they can't see their kids, blah, blah, blah. Some women will just take the kids and disappear. They don't get...
So is there no law that states that during separation or divorce, A, B, C, D can be done,
So
and
I
then
don't-
until otherwise proven or the verdict is
So
given?
Sajo, that's what we're saying. What are the rules? Because what's the way forward? Because I see, like, I can call to, like, I think Buchi came on air. I was saying something that he couldn't see his daughter or something. And then there's this other guy, the one that has the golden hair, had the gold hair or something. One of the celebrities, he's an OAP. He came actually to say, oh, this is what happened, this is what happened. Sajo, how do they go forward? How do we go forward on this? Because it's a serious issue. You find out that women will just take the kids and disappear. And the men don't even know where to find their kids. I don't know if they can go. So it's difficult for me to understand. Is it that they can't go to court to say, I want my kids, or even write that they should bring these kids back?
It is very untrue that you cannot, if you want to, you cannot access the court for purpose of access to your children.
Okay.
Now, there is no parent with superior rights over a child.
Okay.
You see, those persons who come out of social media have been so subsumed with socialization or social mediaing that all they do is come there and chase clouds. If you genuinely want to see your children, you know what to do. In Lagos, you have the family courts. You get a court order and you get your children. If she doesn't obey the court order, then she'll be in contempt of court and end up in prison. Or he would be. So let's not keep encouraging them to come and everybody knows a lawyer's office. I know Buchi knows my office too well.
Okay.
If she needs help. Yes,
Okay.
and then we have some sort of relationship,
Okay.
So you cannot come to the social media to seek help when you know where to go to. So please, let us leave that. Now to your larger question of how can they better co-parent. It's what I say to people is that marriage can be difficult and divorce is not easier. So if you think you're escaping from pain into bliss, you won't get it outside the marriage. What I would keep saying with respect to co-parenting, first, You must do everything within your powers to insulate your children from the battle you are fighting with your spouse. That's my first goal. Secondly, while you are at that, this is not the time for blame game. The reason your marriage failed is because of the contribution of both persons. Until you're able to heal through that process and admit yourself that you contributed to the failure of your marriage, you are not ready for a new relationship post-marriage. So admit your wrongs. Don't blame anybody.
True.
If your spouse was so horrible, your contribution is that you made a wrong decision to have married such a horrible human being. Then I would also advise, and it's very important that post-dissolution of marriage, you get professional counseling so that you can properly heal and not still be sniffing around the life that your spouse have not elected, because that's what leads to resentment.
Exactly.
And she's all over social media, doing this, doing that. She's in every party. Baba, you don't divorce her. Face your life. You cannot say, "I'll not do it again," and you're still looking at her lifestyle and want to know where she's entering and who she's,
Sergio, I agree with you, because that's why a lot of people don't send money. They'll say, "Oh, their wife, she's doing this, she's doing," so they won't send money for the children because they think she will spend the money. Because of,
it is
when
also very important during co-parenting that you intentionally promote attachment and connection with the other spouse, with your children and their father or their mother, the other parents, because that is the only way they will get completeness in their development. And more importantly, I had a situation where a client said she was not going to allow her kids have access to their father. And I told her that you will live the remainder of your life in pain and regrets. You know why? When they grow old enough, they will see some positive traits about their father, go look for him. And then because of the sacrifices you made, raising them, and the deprivation you had to undergo of your own life and improvement and development, you will not transfer that resentment to them. That after all I gave to these children, they are looking for that lazy ass man who abandoned them. But that is life. So it is not your responsibility alone.
Okay.
Share it.
Okay.
You didn't bring the children to the world alone. You can't love them so much. Call him. Let him make contributions both in finance and presence in their life, so that you can also have a life.
True.
Always make time. I say to particularly men, do not replace your presence with your money.
Very important.
Always make out time for your children. Because we have friends who to date cannot say my father would say, my mother would say, because there was no such relationship. Your money cannot take the role of your presence in your children's life. So basically, you need to be present in their life and make your contributions, and do not use the opportunity to settle old scores with your spouse.
Yeah. Okay, so
if you want to still battle with your spouse, wait until they are 21. When they are gone, return back to the ring and continue your fight.
Sergio, I was going to ask you a question. You mentioned one of the things that you were saying, one of the things you emphasized was that were you saying that if your other spouse is married, the other person should encourage that the children and the other spouse are close? Was that what you were trying to say?
What I was saying is that if you are divorced or separated, you must encourage your children to be close with their other parents.
Okay.
If you are the mother in custody, encourage them to have a relationship with their father.
Okay.
And vice versa. That's the point I was making.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so Precious, someone sent a message. We need to learn how to resolve issues in a healthy manner. Plus, avoid some of the pastors and elders because they are not equipped with a healthy mindset to counsel. You know, we've had this conversation before. So, Precious, that's why I want you to take it.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't want to throw, elders
Throw
and
shades.
deacons and all, as in, but just like what Sir Joe said, these people have an old template.
Okay.
And this template is ever changing. Can they still give out some wisdom? Yes. I mean, there are some things about relationships that remain constant. Empathy, forgiveness, love, care, and all of that. But as it has to do with separation and divorce and all this, have patience, stay in it, no matter what it is, they'll not be giving you stories that doesn't even make sense to you. And that's how your father did. Or if I tell you my own, when I hear stories like this, in my head, I'm like, okay, if all of these years you've been in this marriage with this person as an older person, and you know it's not working out for you, why did you not leave? Why are you trying to force that your decision on me, who is trying to have an out of my own marriage? Let's just find a way to look for professional therapists. I think it will help if the church, the society embraces therapy as a need, as a necessity. It will help us a whole lot.
I agree with you. And it would help children develop better. Children will be happier because their parents are more matured.
Yes.
Their parents are aware of
And more
considering
grounded.
them. Yes, they are more grounded,
Yes.
because they would feel love because they feel that their parents are considering them in every decision they are taking,
Yeah.
There was this
Yes.
There was a story, in fact, someone was telling me a story about her sister wanting to leave her marriage and her father said never. In fact, the man used to beat her and all that, but the father said, you must stay there. You know, this girl goes, she said this girl goes on Facebook every day, will post her father's picture and render insults on this man, her own father, for not allowing her leave her marriage. The man refused to collect the bride price. That means he wanted that girl to die there. But that's a story for another day. We have just 2 minutes left. Tommy, you want to say something before we leave?
Well, I think Mr. Joe has pretty much put almost a complete understanding, if I should say, on the topic.
Okay.
But if I should drop one or two, it's always important for both parents to understand that whilst they are facing whatever challenges they are facing, they should always remember that their kids come first.
Okay.
Because
True.
after all is said and done, it affects the kids eventually when they're older.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So please, Papa and Mama, when I don't hear, you guys should think about your children because all these things we're complaining about children not acting properly in public, all these things we're saying children not behaving right. Trust me, it's as a result of most of those things that our parents did or we see our parents doing. So please, parents should be very intentional. It's not about just training, yes, but you also have to have it right, you yourself, because you can't be giving what you don't have.
Yeah.
You can't give what you don't have. So if you guys are not even able to sort out issues between yourself, what are you guys telling your children? That's why you see siblings having issues, rivalry, and all that. So please, parents, let's be very intentional about what we let our kids see. Okay, so also, please note that one of our videos is supposed to be out. We have a few packages that we're supposed to be sharing with you guys to support our viewers who are going through a few things or whatever. But please, when the video is out, we'll share. But again, send us an email at counsel@vedaconsult.com if you're going through anything. And we have a very good support system for people who actually need help. Just send us an email or send a WhatsApp message. And again, somebody will be there to attend to you. See you tomorrow.